Tell me why you came out here today. Why did you come out here too?
I came out to have the opportunity to get to the podium and present the information that will give Americans the necessary tool in order to have the opportunity. And what's the opportunity tool? The opportunity tool is cash. And Iraq's dollar, if we could force the floating of Iraqi currency, because it's already the second largest producer of oil and natural gas in the world. If you go to two websites, gidassociates.com. Okay. This is the website that you can buy the new Iraqi dollar printed by George Bush through the company of Delarue in England, where 70 trillion Iraqi dollars were printed, and that I found out that operatives in the military, U.S. Army, were tasked to go and throughout Iraq and collect up bought for old Iraqi dollars at currency value, and at the time it was greater than $2 a piece. They were swapping out old Iraqi currency with Federal Reserve dollars and giving them the new Iraqi dollars. And the Iraqi dollar currently is $1 will buy 1,000 Iraqi dollars.
So can you tell us about the private offshore Federal Reserve? Tell us about the bank, the Federal Reserve.
Well, the Federal Reserve was started by the family, the Walt Disney family, out of Asheville, North Carolina. And I believe that the Walt Disneys are direct descendants to Solomon. That's why they're so undisputed in the following that they have. They're the king lineage. And so they believe that whatever they do is justified so that they can be dominant in the planet. And Rush Limbaugh in 1978 put in my hand a book written, it was warehoused by the John Birch Society, called How to Take Over the World in 3 World Wars, written in 1776. And the family members of that book, the second or third generation, went on to in Augusta, Georgia in 1857 on 8th and Telfair Street, created the Southern Baptist Church, and his name was Ben Israel. And Billy Graham is part of that operation. That's why the Billy Graham headquarters is 1 mile from the Federal Reserve headquarters of Asheville, North Carolina. They didn't have far to walk with the bags of paper. That's how Billy Graham was able to buy all this airtime on these huge coliseums filled with young people wearing white, like Moonies.
Yeah.
It's a cult of emotionalism without fact. Fact energizes the individual to be self-motivated. Emotionalism makes them, it's like drugs. It only lasts while you're taking it.
Yeah.
And then it ends and you're drained. It's like sports. It's like the invention of sports by the very people of the Federal Reserve that were feeding Christians to lions at the cheers of the Roman Colosseum. The same people own the sports networks in our nation today, without let up. Marv Levy, Chuck Schumer, all of them. And after a while, you know, and here's something else. All of Hollywood is a Jewish operation, and I hate to say that, folks, but I'm being Jew myself. But you don't get a movie slot unless you're Jewish in Burbank.
Well, what do you think about Obama?
President Obama was picked by George Bush and the neocons of the Republican Party years before, when he was almost still just a teenager. And they picked him because the Federal Reserve is playing the equation of what if 10 layers deep on both sides, up denominator and numerator. Now listen to what I'm saying. They cover all the bases. And they made sure that and as they looked out into the reality of the continuation of the global domination of the Federal Reserve currency, okay, the 11 banks of the Federal Reserve, which is not federal at all. It's a misnomer to even say those words. There's nothing federal about it. They looked out and saw the need to create the opportunity for the continuation of the domination of the Middle Eastern minds. And here's how they did it. They went out and found Barack Obama because he was already known to be a Muslim. He was born in Kenya, and if you go to the website, Philip Berg, who was the Attorney General of Ohio, he's a Jew. He's a member of the NAACP and a lifetime member of the Democratic Party. He sued the Democratic Party, tried to in Supreme Court, but was never allowed to bring the case forward. I gave a major military operative, retired command sergeant major of a major operation of the military. I gave him the pro se filing of Philip Berg that showed, without doubt, that Barack Obama is not an American. He is from Kenya, and he is a Muslim. And the people of the Middle East have been hoodwinked into believing that Barack Obama is the go-to guy, so they wouldn't convert to euro dollars, and they stayed with Federal Reserve currency. Oh, it's a perfect plan. And Americans are they're nothing but pork chop eaters and morons who drink Coke, who's probably got a combination formula to make us debilitated so we can't sit around and think. Stuffed with corn sugar. Okay.
Well, you know, as a Christian, I believe...
So Barack Obama came on the scene. Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm looking right at you. Why do you think George Bush and Putin, the president of Russia, was there at the Olympics in China at the swim meet when they announced the news that the Ukrainians had been re-given, that the Russians had taken over control of the Ukraine? Because George Bush made a deal with Putin and gave up the Ukrainians if they would take control of the oil pipeline in Georgia. Now you say, well, what does that have anything to do with? Well, let me tell you, idiots who never have bought a single share in the stock market on a call, on a position take that something's going to go up. Let me tell you what happened. The Middle Eastern mullahs, oil cartel managers, saw that if they converted to euro dollars, and they were fixing to do that within days.
Yeah.
That the United States would allow Russia to invade and shut the oil pipeline down that fed all of Western Europe, and the euro dollar would have collapsed. And they saw that, and they did not convert. They shorted the euro dollar. Now what happened after that? A week later, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac collapsed. Not for the reasons that you're told. Not for those reasons. Anything you hear on the media is the lie of half-truth.
Who controls the media?
Hold on, let me finish this.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Gerhard Schroeder and Francois Mitterrand shorted Fannie Mae and pulled all their funds out of it. That's why Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac collapsed.
Obama is evil.
Because George Bush and Putin hoodwinked the Europeans by shorting their dollar and keeping the Federal Reserve operation the only currency that's used by Middle Eastern oil cartels. That's why Germany and Japan were slaughtered during the Second World War, and the ignorant, well-meaning Americans were used to go and slaughter these decent people under the propagation of huge lies so that they could eliminate all competition to the global advancement of the Federal Reserve. Oh, it's been a huge, why does the Bible say that the love of money is the root of all evil? Well, I'll tell you, and I'll stop with this. My friend who was a major player, a regional director of Smith Barney, told me while I sat down at Jekyll Island in front of the Goodyear house, he said that the 11 families that are represented in the houses that you're looking at Jekyll Island President's Club, I said, yes, sir. He said they are the same 11 families that were in charge of the Jewish religion of the very days that Christ was sacrificed. They killed him for the love of money.
Yeah.
Of Christ was hung on the cross for the love of money, not for salvation, although their evil was counted for good for the rest of us. And the fear that they have of what they did, because they know they hung the Son of God on the cross. Yeah. The fear they have is what catapults them in Proverbs, where it says evil people stay up all hours of the night contriving their schemes of deception. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May God bless those who believe in Christ and stand shoulder to shoulder in prayer and in giving money. Because where your heart is, there your cash is also. Bottom line.
Thank you very much.